The Nook? You bet. You can also read a full replica of the newspaper on your Android-powered smartphone, on Apple's iPhone, or on your laptop. We have a solution for any device. E-Edition is free for subscribers, or just $7.99 a month. The Bakersfield Californian. We're everywhere and anytime. Subscribe today. Bakersfield.com.
Roadrunner Rundown on Bakersfield.com and the CSUB Roadrunners Digital Network. Live from the Dignity Health Studios in downtown Bakersfield, California.
Welcome in once again to Roadrunner Rundown, the official program, CSUB Roadrunner Athletics. Corey Costello with you. Thanks so much for joining us. We got a great show today. A lot of soccer on today's program. Yes, it is. It's World Cup time, and we'll continue to talk about that with our head men's soccer coach, Richie Grant. But the soccer jerseys and the soccer ball today, or the football, have you? We will be unveiling the. Yeah, see, we got the kit. They call this a kit. It's a kit. The CSUB soccer kit. We're going to be unveiling the 2014 men's soccer schedule. Head coach Richie Grant will join us on the program. We'll be chatting with him about the 2014 schedule. We'll also talk some World Cup as well. By the way, for those of you watching the show live, it's not going to do any good for you who get the show on demand because it'll be past that point. But if you are watching the show live, we'll be having a World Cup viewing party for Team USA versus Belgium Tuesday, 1 o'clock at Lengthwise in the Marketplace by the CSUB campus. Come join our soccer coaches and watch the game with CSUB staff, some student athletes as well. And the great part is that our coaches are great to watch games with because they will break down every little piece of the soccer match if you ask them a question, and they know every single player on the field from every country. It's amazing. So join us for that on Tuesday, 1 o'clock at Lengthwise in the Marketplace for the Team USA game and our watch party with CSUB soccer. So we got that coming up, and as I said, we'll speak with Richie Grant as we unveil the 2014 men's soccer schedule. Some great games on the schedule. A very tough schedule as well. His first season in Bakersfield. We'll chat with him about that coming up on the program in the next couple segments. Also joining us in the final segment of the show today, Brian Cobb, a CSUB wrestling alum, also a volunteer assistant coach with the Roadrunners, will join us. He is also a MMA fighter, and he was actually scheduled to fight in the latest World Series of Fighting on NBC Sports Network. Unfortunately, he got hurt, had to pull out, but he's going to come on the program, talk MMA, talk some wrestling with us as well. And so that's coming up on the last segment of the program today as well. So Richie Grant will talk soccer, we'll unveil the schedule, and of course Brian Cobb, CSUB alum, MMA fighter with the World Series of Fighting, joining us a little bit later on the program as well. Want to get to the news? We start on the scholarship front. The Roadrunners continue their outreach in the community with another service organization visit last week. Dennis Cassidy from CSUB Men's Swimming visited the Bakersfield host Lions Club in downtown to share his thoughts on being a student athlete and the benefits and responsibilities that come with it.
Being a student athlete is not only a responsibility but a privilege, especially when you're on scholarship. And when I think scholarship, I think opportunity. And what my scholarship has done for me is given me an opportunity to participate at a collegiate level, Division I, which is the highest level collegiately I could compete in. It's opened doors for me in school. It gives me priority registration. I'm allowed to get the classes I need and graduate on time. And lastly, it's allowed me to go away to school instead of stay at home and go to junior college. So I'm getting a degree from university, I'm a student athlete, and I've learned a lot, I've matured as a leader, and now I'm captain of my swim team.
And that was Dennis Cassidy at the Bakersfield host Lions Club, and more visits from student athletes to service organizations scheduled throughout the summer. On to some academic news from the Western Athletic Conference. 23 student athletes recently honored as part of the Spring Sports Academic All-Conference teams announced yesterday by the WAC. To be eligible, a student athlete must have a 3.2 GPA and compete in at least 50% of the team's contests this past season. Let's go to the Spring Sports Winners for Bakersfield and baseball was Taylor Aikenhead, Oscar Sinai, and Hayden Carter. Men's golf, Nicholas Browning, Matthew DeFord, and Dylan Lim. In softball, Madison Bundy, Taylor DeSilva, Kelsey Monroe, Sydney Raber, Amy Ricciardi, and Mackenzie Zinger. For men's track, Carnell Grimes, Gabe Holland, Justice Mora, Derek Stotler, and Matt Turkington. On women's track, Amy Burks, Jory Broughton, Gabby Giuliano, Audrina Harlan, and Alyssa Page all being honored on the spring all-conference teams. And you know what the Western Athletic Conference also did is for the first time the conference did a freshman and transfer student athletes all-conference, academic all-conference team as well that spanned the whole year after they saw their entire year of academic work. They also created that team as well. The Roadrunners had 16 make that list as well. Stephen G. for baseball. Women's cross country was Ori Blackman and Lashia Morgan. Women's golf, Chandler Bowman and Tara Steinbach. Men's soccer, Hugo Vanales. Women's soccer, Alex Bachman, Hedda Regafalk, and Megan Vina. Also in softball, Carson Guzman, Lindsay Clemenco, and Brianna Pentacorvo. Women's swimming and diving, Carly Burks, Felicia Zamora. Men's track, Kyle Wiggins. And in women's track, Tori Blackman and Lashia Morgan as well. So very cool. A total of 39 student athletes being honored academic all-conference in the Western Athletic Conference in both the spring and the all year long for the newcomers and freshmen as well. So a very good year for Bakersfield academically as well. Want to get to a note on baseball and a thought on Cale Brockmeyer, a former Roadrunner who recently had a tremendous outing for the Chicago Cubs affiliate. This was the Class A Kane County Cougars, a 9-7 win on the road this past Sunday. But more importantly for Brockmeyer, he doubled in the second. He hit for the cycle. He doubles in the second, homered in the third, singled in the eighth, then broke a 7-7 tie with a triple in the ninth, the first cycle in his career, and the first in 9 years for Kane County. Brockmeyer is hitting .311 for the Class A affiliate of the Chicago Cubs. He also drove in 4 runs in the game. He scored 3 times and went 4 for 5 in the ball game. Brockmeyer is in his first full season with the Cubs organization after being drafted in the 16th round in last year's MLB draft. So Cale Brockmeyer, a cycle and hitting a second triple of the season. But the triple also, by the way, in that cycle helped win the game. It broke a scoreless tie in the ninth, and on the road they eventually went on to win that ball game. So it was all over minor league baseball news. It doesn't happen very often in baseball, period. But our very own former Roadrunner, Cale Brockmeyer, hitting for the cycle in the Cubs organization Class A affiliate. Also, congrats, by the way, former CSUB pitcher Jeff McKenzie. He was called up. He's in the White Sox organization, called up to Class A Kannapolis last week, and he won his first start with the Intimidators. He went 5 innings, allowing 1 run on 5 hits. That 1 run was a solo home run, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts in the outing as well. He's now 2-0 this season after an earlier win in the Pioneer League last month before being called up. So McKenzie off to a nice start. He was in extended spring training for a while, went to the Rookie League ball briefly, and then up to Class A Kannapolis where he already has a victory. So congrats to him as well. Now 2-0 on the year with the White Sox organization. One more quick note. I want to thank the good folks at Adidas. We'll talk more on the show about this next week. But Adidas renewing their partnership with CSUB Athletics, a new 7-year contract to outfit the runners for the 2021 season, and more importantly, continue to sponsor this program, Roadrunner Rundown, as well, presented by Adidas. So very, very cool. And thank Adidas and the good folks there for continuing their relationship with the Roadrunner. So it is soccer time. It is the World Cup, and we're going to be talking soccer on the program today. And so kind of in the spirit of soccer, when that's on everybody's mind, we went back into the Corey versus archives, and there was a couple soccer showdowns back there. But we found a very good one, and we're watching the World Cup. You see these, you see the goalkeepers. They take the ball and they kick it a mile. Some of them kind of drop it, some kind of kick it off the side. Anyway, you see these guys just hit the ball, kick the ball a mile, and you wonder, how do they do that? Well, I wondered that as well. And so let's go back to the fall when we caught up with our goalkeeper, Anthony Perez, when he taught me the machete tactic on this Corey Versus. And we're here with another Corey Versus, and this is a different style. Once in a while, we do the more like show Corey how to do something, and that's what we're going to go with this week. We're here with CSUB goalkeeper Anthony Perez, and so here's what we're going to try. I see you in the games all the time. You get a goal kick, you find a way to whip it down the field. How does that kind of work?
Basically, pick it up, look what's further, look who's open, and I hit it.
Now, there's a couple different ways, right? There's a drop kick way, which some guys do. There's also what Simon's explained as the machete, because you guys swing from the side, right? That's what you go with?
Yes, of course. I usually do that because it's faster and quicker. Instead of, drop kicking it takes a little longer.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to set up a couple chances here, and I want to let Anthony show you all how it's done with the machete, so to speak, and then I'll give it a shot and see how it goes. You ready?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, first things first. Anthony here is going to give us a little lesson on how it's done.
Basically, you usually get the ball. Now I look furthest beyond, and it was open. And once I get that, I get in my position, out wide, and I come here. Yep.
Wow, pretty solid machete. He even finds the guy's feet. What a location. Even slow motion is impressive. Okay, one more, and nicely placed, and a beautiful machete.
Okay.
Now it's time for this guy to give it a whirl.
So,
the machete. I'm going to come out, you said, this
yeah, basically, kind of have your leg out wide, and you whip it like a machete.
Okay.
Yeah,
Like that.
there you go.
All right. Look down for someone open.
Yeah, furthest off, he's open.
Furthest open.
Yeah, to see your name over there. Oh,
that was solid.
Not
bad. Not bad. Replay looks even deadlier.
A little bit higher.
All right, as normal, I get cocky after a little success. Killer save, like one of these, and I'm looking.
Machete.
And a machete shank. That one, not so much. No competition today, just another learning experience. Hey, that's pretty good, though. I mean, that first one was pretty solid, and, in spirit of the World Cup, we had to dust that off. So remember, folks, it's a side whip. You whip the leg. All right, that's how you do it. My thanks to Anthony Perez, and I now feel though once in a while that I can break that out and feel comfortable with my machete skills. Anyway, join us again as I mentioned. We're watching the show live today, 1:00 at Lengthwise of the Marketplace with the Team USA Belgium watch party with our soccer coaches, and I think some of our student athletes might be there as well cheering on Team USA. All right, speaking of soccer, when we come back, we are going to speak with head coach Richie Grant, CSUB men's soccer. We're going to unveil the 2014 schedule, a great one at that. We'll talk with Coach Grant about the schedule and also a little World Cup action coming up on the program. Also, we'll be having Brian Cobb, MMA fighter, Roadrunner wrestling alum, local business owner as well, going to join us on the program in the final segment. So stick around. We shall be back. It's Roadrunner Rundown.
Hey everybody, I'm Louis Amestoy, the host of the Baco Motorsports Power Hour here on Bakersfield.com. You can watch us live every Tuesday at 11 o'clock as we talk about things going on at Auto Club Formosa Raceway, at Kern County Raceway Park, and of course the historic Bakersfield Speedway. We'll have results, we'll have interviews with drivers, we'll have updates on Kevin Harvick and Casey Mears on NASCAR. Also talk about NHRA, IndyCar, Formula One. Also be joined by Mike Griffith in studio every day.
Kern Business Journal contains news and information from local business leaders and organizations. Topics include agriculture, health and medical, energy, real estate, and more. Visit KernBusinessJournal.com to find out how to subscribe or where to pick up a free copy. To inquire about advertising in the bi-monthly business journal, call 395-7586. Find us online on Facebook and Twitter, as well as on KernBusinessJournal.com.
Brave and bold, silver and gold.
We're on a mission.
Aggie up.
Bronx Country just got a whole lot bigger. Mighty Wolverines of UVU.
Join the herd. Lopes up.
Bold moves, big season, grew up.
We are the new gold standard.
We will be champions.
We are the Western Athletic Conference.
Follow the Gades live on Bakersfield.com every Saturday during football season. Every Bakersfield College football game will be broadcast live on Bakersfield.com starting September 6th when the Gades visit Riverside. Follow the action on Bakersfield.com Saturday, September 6th at 6 o'clock. Join the Bakersfield Californian and Bakersfield College exclusively on Bakersfield.com.
The Roadrunner Scholarship Fund creates educational opportunities for over 300 student athletes at CSUB. By becoming a member and donating to the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund, you're not only helping the Roadrunners fund the scholarship needs of our teams, you're investing in the future. The Roadrunner Scholarship Fund isn't just developing student athletes. We're developing tomorrow's leaders from lessons learned during competition. For more information, log on to gorunners.com/donate and become a member of the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund.
Welcome back into Roadrunner Rundown, and we continue on the program with a lot of soccer news today, and we will continue by the way, also coming up with the program, we're going to be speaking with Brian Cobb, former Roadrunner wrestler, MMA fighter, and he's a local business owner as well. We'll chat with him. He also volunteers with CSUB Wrestling and see him in the wrestling room all the time, so we'll chat with him coming up a little bit later on the program, but continuing to talk some soccer, and we're joined now by our head men's soccer coach, Richie Grant, as it's time to unveil the 2014 schedule. You excited now?
I'm very excited. And we're both skipping out on a World Cup game here.
Yeah, we are. But I think I'm just looking forward to 1 o'clock today.
Yeah, that's the big one.
It's the big one, and we told the folks earlier at Lengthwise in the Marketplace a chance to come watch the game. And by the way, it's great watching the game with you guys. Like I watched that very first Ghana game with you, and it's good. I mean, all the soccer you guys have. Obviously, you know the game, but you know the players like I would never know them, and you know the players on both sides.
Yeah. and they won, so it was good karma.
So it was absolutely. So we'll keep that rolling. Let's talk. We'll talk more World Cup coming up. Let's talk CSUB soccer and the 2014 schedule. And real quick before we get to the specific dates, give me your thoughts on the schedule as a whole. I mean, you kind of came into this thing and some of the stuff was in place, but you went and got some of it as well. So, give me your thoughts on this non-conference and conference schedule.
I'm really, really pleased with it. It was a schedule we didn't have to mess an awful lot with. One of the advantages of being in California is just so many universities. It's tough for recruiting because there's an awful lot of competition, but you have an awful lot of games. And I think one of the great mistakes we're making with conferences is the amount of traveling that we have to do with the kids. So immediately I picked up on I would rather play games as close as possible, particularly in the state of California, because we have quality opposition and we're not flogging our kids to go play those games, and hopefully we get return matches out of it as well. And with us being a quarter school, it's my first go around on this quarter, and I'm really looking forward to it. But September is a really interesting. It's an interesting time in your schedule without having classes, and without having your college students on campus. It allows us to take a couple of games on the road. So we go to Drexel's tournament and we go to UNLV's tournament. So that gives us 4 games away from campus where we can really evaluate what we have.
Absolutely. Let's go to the check out the schedule. We'll bring those up and go through it here little by little. We start in August. Of course, you'll do an exhibition early on against at Stanford. So this is going to be, one that right off the bat, it's going to be a test, even though it's an exhibition.
It's a really, really important game for us, because we have 19 regular season games. It only allows us the one preseason match, which really isn't enough. But I'm very appreciative to Jeremy. Jeremy played here, and he's been a very, very successful coach at Division II, and then at Charlotte, and now at Stanford, and he has a really good squad this year. In fact, they had the U.S. national team training at their campus before they headed off to the World Cup. So it's a wonderful game. Not in terms of the result, not that it's more. It'll be the first look at our players. It'll be a chance for us to put some shape on the team. We've come off the spring. We'll have some new players in. So it really is important in terms of our shape, our commitment to the season, how the players return in terms of their fitness. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's not far away.
Yeah.
It's right in the middle of camp, and we'll have some training under our belt. So a great start in terms of putting ourselves against a national tournament team. Kind of just a good gauge for where we're at coming out of camp.
And then you'll open up the regular season at San Diego State. Again, another Pac-12 affiliate school. That's a tough one to deal with.
Yeah, very tough, and a good home opener again. We'll have had some traveling, so it'll give us some experience going to Stanford. Couldn't be more pleased about just the quality of opponents that we face early on. The traveling it's not crazy.
Yeah.
We're not flying all over the place at the start of the season, so I think our players have an opportunity to perform at the best that they can in those games.
You'll go to then you'll stay on the bus, so to speak, and you'll go to the UNLV tournament, Howard and IP Fort Wayne in those over the Labor Day weekend there. So again, a couple Midwest schools, but you don't got to travel all the way to the Midwest to play them.
Yeah, and that's one of the hard things about being in California is sometimes not getting. You see many California schools fighting for out of region games.
Yeah.
And I think we've got 4 in September, which is very, very good, and that's what you look for in the tournament. So if you can find that in New Mexico or in UNLV, it's an advantage for us to not have to go too far to get out of region games.
Yeah, and then Thursday the 11th at UC Riverside. Your home opener is scheduled for Saturday, September 13th against UC Davis out of the Big West, and always, Big West opponents are always tough ones to play.
All of them. Yeah, I can't imagine that there's too many bad teams around them. And we've played some Division 2s in the spring, and just everybody is well set up. There's good players in most of the programs, and it'll be nice to come home. They're doing great work on the field. I don't know if you've seen our pitch even lately. It looks really, really well. So that will be nice for our boys to get a home game after being on the road early in the season.
Absolutely. Then one more tournament. This will be the New Mexico tournament in Albuquerque, Drexel, and VCU. Again, how much do you know about those two teams?
Well, I know the coaches all very well, and I know traditionally all the teams have been good. Drexel won their conference last year, so went to the national tournament. New Mexico went to the Final Four, and we won't play them, but it's their tournament. And VCU have been in the NCAA a few times now, and we know their coach from his time at UAB as well.
And then at Cal State Northridge, they had a phenomenal year last year, and you guys are going to get them this season as well.
Yeah, really looking forward to that. Actually, I had an opportunity to play them last year at home. Traveled in with Memphis, and they're a program. I mean, they're a good barometer for us at CSUB.
Yeah.
Just in terms of where they recruit from and how they've become so good so quickly. But they really were one of the best teams in the country last year.
Yeah, and that'll round out the non-conference games, and you'll open up conference play. You'll get the Sacramento State matchup, one more non-conference game, Sacramento State at home on Sunday, September 28th, and then the big one, the conference opener, which will be Saturday, October the 4th, against San Jose State, 7 o'clock, main soccer field. Obviously, that one's got all kinds of things working for it. Conference opener, the big rowdy run as well for the new students and the freshmen, and big student game. And then just the conference opener, and then it's Simon Tobin's return. So locally, I think that game's got a big opportunity to be a big match.
It's got some great subplots to it, and on top of it, it's a wonderful game, a great conference opener, and at the moment we're waiting for finalization.
There's even more things we can talk about.
Yeah, with that game, and it'll be coming soon. But
yeah.
We're hoping for that to be a nationally televised game. It's a great one to start with. I think the league was a little bit down last year, and it'll be back up this year. So nice to start your conference play at home. And I think administratively we did a lot of work to make it happen on a Saturday night as opposed to the Sunday. And just, Corey, that's been one of the real pleasures with working at CSUB is the amount of commitment that we're making towards promoting the games. Getting and that really is a good one for us to have this year in terms of getting people to come out, having the rowdy run. So now we have support from the campus. We potentially have support from the NSCAA in terms of national television.
Yeah.
We support from the conference because it'd be a real treat for the league to get a game such high profile on television, and then the subplot assignment coming back should be a great night.
And you came from a school that had they had football, so here you are as a soccer coach. Now you get to the fall, and your sport is the sport.
This
you kind of like that.
Yeah, this is the football. It's great.
Yeah,
it's great. And you wouldn't ask for anybody to cut football, but it is now to see another perspective.
Right.
Yeah, because football dominates the fall. Listen, I've come back from development academy games, and a lot of our dialogue was there's going to be some radical changes in our sport. It's coming. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah.
But we may be moving to a fall and spring semester, more in the baseball model than in the football model. Which, when you really step away from it, it makes an awful lot of sense for our sport.
Yeah.
We're following a model and competing with a sport for television that we really just can't compete with.
Right.
So for us to get online with a spring schedule, you could see some great changes. So I'm giving you a long answer to your question.
No, I'm sure you're definitely going to enjoy that. So a couple other things real quick before we hit break. We'll go to a few more games. On the road, you take that kind of Midwest swing, Kansas City and Air Force on October 10th and the 12th. And then back to kind of wrap up the month of October, the 17th and 19th. New one with the new affiliate member in Incarnate Word and Houston Baptist coming to Bakersfield as well. So Incarnate Word, we know the Division II level was very good.
That's right. And they used to be back in the NAI. I'm giving my age away, but back when I played. So they've made great strides, just like CSU. The nice thing about some of the conference schools is that they have all made strides to be a Division I program.
Yeah.
And some of them are in some cities that they could really, their recruiting can be good and they have an opportunity quick. One of the great things about the WAC is the amount of MLS cities that we play in.
Yeah.
And it's nice with our traveling this year that we're actually putting our kids in front of some potential recruiting opportunities and that they're going to get scouted because we're in the back garden of some teams and I can't see any reason why they won't come out and watch us.
Well, and I know that was a big part of Corey Kindle's success when he was drafted by Colorado. I mean, they saw him play at Air Force.
Absolutely.
And that's right around the corner from the Colorado Rapids and Sporting Kansas City.
It's brilliant. And you say to the boys, you don't know the game, the day. It can be a Sunday afternoon. There can be 27 people, 2 dogs and a cat, but there can be 1 scout.
Right.
And that can be the performance, you know. So they are watching, they're paying attention, and it certainly helps if we're going to their cities to play. Yeah,
and of course Seattle, which you won't travel to this year, but you will play them, and there's plenty MLS cities in the WAC, and obviously it's gonna help our program and the players as well.
And the other nice thing the conference does, which I've not heard of before, but they allow last year's winners to host next year's event, which I think is forward thinking from the WAC. It gives that school a little bit of time to prepare, and it rewards their players for a job well done the season before. So there's a great incentive for our program, and it gives you something to look forward to. That this year the tournament, after all the regular season games, will be in Seattle. Yeah, absolutely. All right, we're going to step away and take a break. When we come back, we'll continue. We'll kind of wrap up the rest of the schedule, and we'll talk some World Cup as well with our head men's soccer coach Richie Grant. Back after this, it's Roadrunner Rundown.
Buying a home is one of the most important decisions you can make. Scott Tobias Real Estate is here for you. Allow our seasoned and professional associates guide you through every step of the way. Scott Tobias Real Estate is a full-service real estate company providing expert assistance in residential and commercial real estate. The real estate business has changed in many ways over the years, but the desire for excellent customer service is still very much in demand. Our objective is not to be the biggest, but to offer the best real estate services. We're open 7 days a week.
Save 50 to 90% with the Bakersfield Californians Daily Deal featured on Bakersfield.com. A daily deal is offered each weekday on services from local restaurants, dry cleaners, health and beauty services, retail shops, and local activities for the entire family. The Daily Deal is 100% local. Find these amazing deals only at dailydeal.bakersfield.com.
The Bakersfield Californian is a great read on the iPad, but did you know that the Bakersfield Californian is available on your Kindle Fire? Or how about Google's Nexus 7? The Nook? You bet. You can also read a full replica of the newspaper on your Android-powered smartphone, on Apple's iPhone, or on your laptop. We have a solution for any device. E-Edition is free for subscribers, or just $7.99 a month. The Bakersfield Californian. We're everywhere and anytime. Subscribe today. Bakersfield.com.
Current Business Journal contains news and information from local business leaders and organizations. Topics include agriculture, health and medical, energy, real estate, and more. Visit currentbusinessjournal.com to find out how to subscribe or where to pick up a free copy. To inquire about advertising in the bi-monthly Business Journal, call 395-7586. Find us online on Facebook and Twitter, as well as on currentbusinessjournal.com.
The Roadrunner Scholarship Fund creates educational opportunities for over 300 student athletes at CSUB. By becoming a member and donating to the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund, you're not only helping the Roadrunners fund the scholarship needs of our teams, you're investing in the future. The Roadrunner Scholarship Fund isn't just developing student athletes. We're developing tomorrow's leaders from lessons learned during competition. For more information, log on to gorunners.com/donate and become a member of the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund.
We are back on Roadrunner Rundown. Thanks so much for joining us as we continue to talk the 2014 men's soccer schedule with our head coach, Richie Grant, joining us in studio. And, Coach, we got through about pretty much through October, but the way the NBA, I want to let people know the way that the WAC is set up this year. You kind of have like a division, right? And you're going to play teams like San Jose State a couple times. And let's see, and then you're going to go out of division a little bit for Kansas City, and if that's kind of how they set it up this year.
Yeah, and I think it's to get a couple of extra games.
Yeah,
you play some of the people twice,
right?
But not all of them.
Yeah,
but you basically play everybody, and I'm not really sure how that factors into the playoff thing because it's not fair for all teams all the time. But there is a balance of games, and the idea was to get people to the 10 matches to make up their schedule.
Well, and then you'll play San Jose State for the second time on October 26th at their place, and then at UNLV on the 31st, and then that's kind of that Vegas Grand Canyon trip. That's a Vegas-Phoenix trip. You'll play Grand Canyon on the road on November the 2nd as well. And then you kind of round out the home portion of the schedule with a first-year team, Utah Valley, in their first year of men's soccer on the 7th. And then you get the defending champion Seattle at home on November 9th, right before the conference tournament. So that's kind of an interesting dynamic.
I think it's a great one. It's a good, tough game to finish out the season, and it's a game that we hope has consequence in terms of points and where everybody will fall in league play. And our dilemma right now, and you'd probably be able to tell me better, is do we fly to Phoenix or do we drive, on that, because a lot of them are swings, you play Friday, Sunday, so there's some tough travel in between. So we have to make we're checking flights today actually to decide what way we want to go or come
Phoenix.
back. Yes.
Yeah. I heard it's not that far.
I'm a bus guy. Because I know exactly what we're going to get.
Right. Exactly. And it's not really. I think it's about 4 hours. It's just like you were driving from Bakersfield to Vegas. It's about 4 hours from Vegas to Phoenix. So.
Okay. So you've done it.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Just hop on the bus. That's much easier.
And we have to bring you to sample all the restaurants, right?
Yes. Exactly. To go to Las Vegas. I mean, you can't turn down a Las Vegas trip. That's for sure. And then of course the WAC tournament, November the 13th through the 16th in Seattle, who won it last year. They are the host as well for that. So, I mean, good schedule overall. You kind of talked about that. You've got a few of these trips where you're playing Friday, Sunday, but a couple standalone weeks as well. So, a good amount of rest kind of worked in here. It seems like it's a pretty balanced schedule.
There's no complaints, and when I had opportunities to make adjustments. We did go commit to the UNLV tournament, and I thought that was wise of us to play 2 games at one location early in the season because it had us traveling. What's new to me is all non-conference in September and all conference in October. Some of the leagues are moving towards putting some non-conference games in October, but because we're Friday, Sunday, it's very difficult. Like you can't play a midweek game. So I'm looking forward to it, and I think also psychologically for the players. End of September, you're into conference games. So you use the beginning of your season to get a benchmark for where you are, to figure out your style. And you'd like to think in October that you're played in.
Yeah, Absolutely, and no, it's a good schedule. Again, the home opener is going to be September the 13th. Again, another one on September the 28th. The big one, I think, we're kind of just trying to steer everybody to is that October 4th game, just because the on-campus implications, the community, all the other stuff as well. That's going to be a huge game, and like I said, more details even to come about that one. That's going to be a huge showing as well. So, men's soccer schedule is officially released, and again, folks can get. We're going to have copies of this available. Folks can check it out obviously on our website, but I want to swing out to Lengthwise today at 1 o'clock to see the Team USA match, and we'll have copies of the schedule, ticket information available as well for that. So thoughts on the World Cup so far? I mean, I've been impressed with the fact that, you see the teams coming in that everyone thought were the favorites, and they've had a few good matches, but some of the results in pool play, the points, even yesterday, the Algeria, Germany game, it was a great match.
It was a really good game, but I read a good one this morning. When Gary Lineker got beat off the Germans many years ago, he says football is a game played by 22 men, and in the end, Germany wins. And it's so true, isn't it? Because I thought Algeria were excellent yesterday. Yeah. I thought Mexico were great, but they didn't advance. You're kind of still stuck with France, Germany, Holland,
Netherlands,
Brazil, Argentina are playing as we speak.
Yeah.
So for all the group play, that's what it's for. But in the end, you still end up with the big ones. Now, I think the tournament's been awesome because the South American piece really is nice.
Yeah.
Not that South Africa was bad, but it's not a football country.
Right.
And I know FIFA tries to share it around, but there's something special about giving it to a football country.
Yeah. And from what I'm hearing is they are saying that the U.S. fans in Brazil, the amount of U.S. fans in Brazil has pretty much outnumbered anyone who's not a South American country. It's very close, as far as locale goes.
And you know what? They're traveling even more now that we've added timeouts to the games. Yeah. The U.S. fans are really excited now. They can completely relate to it now.
Yeah, exactly.
Corey, it's amazing. It's great that we're chatting about it. And in the commercial, we were talking about more and more need for soccer talk. In our profession, we just want the USA to keep winning.
Sure.
And this is not the best team in the World Cup. No. And that's actually what's so impressive about them because they have a spirit about this group. We saw that in the come from behind against, the final goal against Ghana.
Right.
The late goal. The last World Cup was the same. There's a drama about them. There's a spirit about them. There's a fitness about them. That I just think is great for this country because this country just wants to win the World Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's kind of, if they don't come out with a group, it's failure. But it's England have gone home, Spain have gone home.
Did you ever think you'd see the day when the U.S. advanced further than Spain, England, Portugal? I mean, the day when they would go a little bit further than some of these powerhouses?
Well, you did after 2002.
Right.
And Bruce Arena's team, that was a special time. And they were actually, for me, unfortunate to lose to Germany back then.
Yeah.
I thought they outplayed them and they just narrowly missed out. I did believe it, when I first came here. I remember being homesick in college, and the reason I wanted to go home is that there was no football on television.
Right.
And it was really, you just couldn't get in touch. And we grew up watching the game all the time.
All the time.
It was on, but look at it now. I mean, my television, I think, is going to go on the blink here. It's nonstop.
Yeah.
The analysis, the punditry, the fact that ESPN has got on board.
Sure.
It's really. So, did I ever think? Yes, I didn't think that they could win the World Cup as easily as Americans had hoped to.
Right.
Because if you look at how, I think 8 countries have only won the World Cup. It's not a lot of teams get to win it. Brazil could play bad and win this thing.
Right.
Because they have the referees as well.
Yes. Yes.
So it's an incredibly difficult tournament to win, but it's a great tournament to put your country on the map. If they can advance today, which is going to be a really difficult game.
Absolutely.
It'd be great for the country.
I did hear the analysis that obviously Belgium is a good group of. They have a lot of talent, but the U.S. is a team. They've been together. They've kind of fought through it. They've got a little bit more of that team aspect than Belgium does because a lot of those players are fairly new to that program.
Completely. And they probably need to get back to where they played against Portugal, which I think was a good performance.
Right.
Because they haven't played great yet. So, but we're saying the same thing about Argentina and Germany and Brazil. So I think in this game, the USA should be a little bit freer, a little bit looser. The German game was tough for them because they needed a draw. They needed a loss by less than 4 goals. I mean, that's a strange way to approach a football match, you know.
Sure.
But they accomplished it.
Right.
I think today, if they could, and Belgium's probably the same, if they can just both go and play, because the games have not been attacking minded yet. I thought Algeria was great.
Right.
They played with a spirit like they had nothing to lose, and that makes for a good match.
What is it with I mean, I knew Jurgen Klinsmann was a good coach. As a coach, what is it about him that makes him be so successful, and how he kind of changes, the programs and what he's done with Team USA? What is it about him, from a coach to coach analysis?
The players believe in him. He made brave decisions before the World Cup with the squad selection. He's downplayed media-wise the expectations, and now he's upplaying them.
Right.
I think he's been psychologically very smart. There's instant respect from the players. If he says we can do this because he did it himself, there's a tremendous amount of belief. And I think he's a good man. There's been an awful lot of dialogue on, the USA, because I like the US national team coaches. The American-born coaches, I thought they did a great job.
Yeah.
Bradley and Arena both, I thought, were excellent. Sampson, not so much. But Klinsmann has embraced America, don't you think?
Sure.
I mean, his kids go to school here. His wife is American. You see him in his khakis and his sneakers on the sideline.
Yeah, I love that. People give to take an NFL reference, you have Bill Belichick, who always wears the hoodie and the sweats. Meanwhile, you have other coaches. And then you see Klinsmann, the other coaches are in suits, and Klinsmann's in a polo shirt and khakis or a sweatshirt and a hat. He
could be a fan.
Exactly.
And he's made wonderful decisions with his squad. He's been brave. He's freshened the team in the Germany game, which was an important result. I know they didn't win, but it was a very important performance because they couldn't lose it by more than 3,
Right.
So I think he's been tactically sound. We were all worried about their defending before the tournament, and it doesn't seem to be a major problem. I hope that continues
Bailed
today.
him out quite a few times.
Brock Gonzalez in for the last game, and he had a great game, and it was a brave decision to bring him in. So I think as a manager, he's got charisma. The players believe in him. They have confidence. He has a mature team with the backing of, from his goalkeeper out. He has some experience there. So I think the players believe. He's got them through the group, and now I think they believe they can push on. So
yeah, and I think at this point it's using that old term that you're playing with house money. No one expected them to get out of this group, the group of death, and here they are.
My criticism on Klinsmann is I agree with his issues with college soccer.
Yeah,
and we need to get on board. We need to get one of the things about this World Cup is substitutes have been a big factor in scoring.
Yeah.
Well, that's a tactical adjustment from coaches, and we don't have that in the college
right.
game. There's unlimited substitution. My criticism of him is his knock against the MLS. I think for this country to move forward, we need to move the MLS forward, which it's rapidly doing.
I think it has. I think it really has.
11 players are byproducts of that environment.
And look at the expansion. I mean, it's not crazy expansion. It is tactical expansion in markets that want teams. Your Orlando's, another in New York. I could definitely see something like a Phoenix or Las Vegas in the very near future. I think they're expanding wisely. Absolutely.
The teams with major domestic leagues, England, Spain, and Italy, are back at home watching on television.
Exactly. Take that. All right, Coach, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you today at 1 o'clock at Lengthwise for the watch party, when fans can come talk more soccer with you.
Super. Thanks for doing this, and also to Bryn, who put it all together for today.
Absolutely.
Please come out, have some lunch. Lengthwise is a great place. Great fish tacos.
Yeah.
And we'll be giving out the schedules, and we'll watch the USA advance.
Yeah, sounds good to me. All right, folks. So we're going to step away and take a break. When we come back, Brian Cobb's going to join us. We'll talk some MMA with a former Roadrunner wrestler, MMA fighter, and he owns a local business as well. We'll be chatting with him when we get back. It's Roadrunner Rundown.
Hey everybody, I'm Louis Amestoy, the host of the Baco Motorsports Power Hour here on Bakersfield.com. You can watch us live every Tuesday at 11 o'clock as we talk about things going on at Auto Club Formosa Raceway, at Kern County Raceway Park, and of course the historic Bakersfield Speedway. We'll have results, we'll have interviews with drivers, we'll have updates on Kevin Harvick and Casey Mears on NASCAR. Also talk about NHRA, IndyCar, Formula One. Also be joined by Mike Griffith in studio every day.
Introducing TBC Mobile from the Bakersfield Californian. The most complete news, sports, weather, video, opinion, and lifestyle coverage in Bakersfield and Kern County. It's the easiest way to stay up to date on all things local while on the go. Read it on your smartphone or tablet. Download now by searching Bakersfield Californian in the Apple, Google, and Amazon app stores.
The new book is out. That was easy. I would title this thing sort of a description of what raising children is like. That was easy. I've been writing columns now for about 25 years. Writing has always been a conversation. You're taking somebody by the hand for 3 or 4 minutes and you're not letting go. The new book, That Was Easy. Nothing easy about any of this, but we've had some fun and I hope you guys will have some fun looking at this book.
Save 50 to 90% with the Bakersfield Californian's Daily Deal featured on Bakersfield.com. A daily deal is offered each weekday on services from local restaurants, dry cleaners, health and beauty services, retail shops, and local activities for the entire family. The daily deal is 100% local. Find these amazing deals only at dailydeal.bakersfield.com.
The Roadrunner Scholarship Fund creates educational opportunities for over 300 student athletes at CSUB. By becoming a member and donating to the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund, you're not only helping the Roadrunners fund the scholarship needs of our teams, you're investing in the future. The Roadrunner Scholarship Fund isn't just developing student athletes. We're developing tomorrow's leaders from lessons learned during competition. For more information, log on to gorunners.com/donate and become a member of the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund.
And we are back on Roadrunner Rundown. My thanks to Richie Grant for joining us, head men's soccer coach, and the Roadrunner soccer schedule. Now available online at gorunners.com. And again, if you're watching the show live, 1 o'clock we'll be at the Lengthwise in the Marketplace to watch Team USA. And joining us now on the program, we shift from soccer to the world of wrestling/mixed martial arts. And welcome to the program now. He's a assistant coach with CESUB Wrestling, MMA fighter as well, business owner. A little bit of everything. Brian Cobb joins us on the program. Thanks for joining us, man. How you been?
I've been all right, man. Thanks for having me. Appreciate being here.
Well, first of all, I guess we'll get the bad news out of the way first. You were supposed to fight, in a few days in Florida?
Yeah, I was
right?
supposed to fight Saturday, July 5th in Daytona, Florida on the World Series of Fighting 11 card.
And unfortunately, you had to back out. What kind of happened? What happened there?
Back in December, I had a wine bottle shatter in my hand, and everything felt like it was okay after rehab and physical therapy. And as I really got into the hot and heavy of my camp, I started having a lot of hand problems, swelling. Went and got an MRI done and realized that I had severed or ruptured one of the tendons in my index finger. So.
And that was that kind of a work-related? I know you own Sports and Spirits. Is that kind of a work-related injury?
Yeah, more or less. I mean, anytime you're dealing with booze, you'd like to think it's work-related. But yeah, opening a bottle for my wife at home.
Oh, jeez.
I've opened 1,000 wine bottles, and it was a little wet because it had been on ice, slipped out of my hand, and sheared off my palm, basically.
Oh, geez. So that put you out of that one. And I know it's unfortunate because that was national television. You fought in a couple of those World Series of Fighting events. They have a national TV contract with NBC Sports. It seems like that's a good promotion.
Yeah, they do a really good job. They just signed a new contract extension with NBC, so this card that I was going to be on was actually going to be on network NBC, not NBC Sportsnet, which still gets a great number of fans and a good following. But it's nice to have network television, good coverage, good exposure, good fights. So.
Yeah, and I know it's been about a year since your last fight. This sort of injury, how does that kind of derail the career a little bit, and how tough is it to go that long without a bout?
It stinks. It's really frustrating trying to get something, but at the same time, they're trying to build a promotion. They're trying to build a following. So they want to make sure all the pairings, the matchups, the bouts that they're going to put on a televised card are fan friendly. They want to match up good styles. And for me, we just wanted to make sure we had the right fight coming back after a knee surgery. Having a hand surgery now is going to obviously derail that a little bit, but at the same time, we don't want to get off track on my career.
Yeah.
And if if I had fought injured, that could have potentially been the end of it. You know,
Yeah.
if I'm going to lose, it's gonna be because someone's better than me, not because I'm trying to fight at 80% or 90%. So.
Yeah, and I know you were really, training really tough for this one as well. So that was obviously disappointing. But you were all over the state, right? And kind of in other places, kind of training in other gyms. And
I do a lot of travel training. That's kind of the perk of having my own business.
Right.
And the head wrestling coach at Cal State, Mike Mendoza, he's really cool about me missing a couple days of practice here and there.
Yeah.
And I've got good ins at a lot of gyms. So go out of town, bring my daughter with me. You know, I go to San Jose, my folks will watch her, get some good workouts up there. But it's nice to have such an opportunity to go to a lot of different places, get a lot of different looks. And
yeah,
I was in the fires in my camp. I was right in the heart of it when things kind of went south. So.
Yeah, and you average a couple fights a year. Is that about right for a fighter like yourself who's it's not your sole living. You've got a business to run and stuff like that. Is that kind of about right?
It's definitely different now as I'm getting a little older. I fought twice in the same day before in a tournament. So I'd like to fight 2, at most 3 times in a year. But as I'm on the backside, there's not that much tread left on the tires. I'm trying to take care of my body as best I can. Twice a year, good opponents, good matchups. That's what's crucial right now, is making sure I finish with a bang and walk out the way I want to.
You finished wrestling at CSUB right about the time MMA was starting to get rolling. What was the attraction for you as a former wrestler to go to mixed martial arts?
Actually, my 2 older brothers wrestled at UC Davis, and I went up there to go visit them. And a guy named Uriah Faber, who's a big name in the MMA world, told me, hey, you should try it. And I was looking for another competitive outlet at the time. So I took a fight. I was just kind of right place, right time, right frame of mind.
Yeah.
And I loved it, and I wanted to keep doing it, and I have. And it's the goal behind doing it at first was I'm going to pay off all my college loans that I had left from being at a little bit at Cal State and mostly at Marquette when I was there first. So the big thing for me is now I've just really enjoyed the sport. I'm trying to make sure I meet all the goals I set out for myself, and most importantly, unlike college, right? Your senior year, it's going to end how it ends.
Right.
And unless you win it all, generally you're not happy. So with the sport of MMA, I can walk away when I'm content with it.
Right.
I can leave on a win. And that's a difference, and I want to be able to control my own fate a little bit.
How much has the sport changed? Because I know when you started, it was basically one discipline. You were probably labeled as a wrestler right away.
Absolutely.
But now it's how many disciplines do you have to know? I mean, you got wrestling, jiu-jitsu. I mean, how many things does a good fighter probably have to be well versed in?
All of them.
Really?
At this point in the game, you have to be good at everything, or so dominant at your one aspect that you can never deviate from it. So you got so many incredible guys that train in jiu-jitsu. They train in wrestling. George St. Pierre never wrestled in college.
Yeah.
But they talked about him trying to make Canada's national team while he's up there because he was a very good wrestler for MMA. And at this point, if you're not a good boxer, if you're not a good kickboxer, it's going to get exposed in a fight. People are going to know, and there's so much video, there's so much media out there that they can see stuff and pick it apart. They can see tendencies. So if you're not training full time, which I'm not, it can hinder you a little bit.
How much of the fact that you're in a wrestling room, and when I say you're an assistant coach, you're not just standing around telling people what to do. I mean, I've been in the wrestling room. I've seen what you do. You're working with these guys. You're wrestling with these guys. You're sweating just as much as they are. How much does that help you stay in some form of shape, even though you're not training all the time?
It's light years of a difference than the guys that wrestled and were really successful in college, and now they're at MMA wrestling practices as opposed to being in a Division I college room. We had Bryce Hammond was an All-American this year. I've got one of the best workout partners in California. Should I choose to go in there and battle with him on a daily basis? And being able to do that, being on that college wrestling grind of, not highs and lows of all of a sudden I'm going as hard as I can. Okay, now I'm going to rest. I'm on top. I'm taking this guy down. I'm in control position. Wrestling, you're just grinding for 7 minutes and hoping to get your hand raised at the end. And so being in that room keeps my cardio where it needs to be. It kind of keeps me young, but I'm definitely more of a glorified workout partner and beat up dummy than anything else sometimes. So
hey, that works. What did being a student athlete, and being a Roadrunner wrestler kind of teach you that you continue to apply today, not only as a fighter but as a business owner, as well?
I wrestled under the Coach Kerr era,
right?
And he's definitely a different breed. I actually wrestled for his brother in high school as well. So being at Cal State where, it was education is first, because if you don't have a good education, if you're not passing your classes, you can't wrestle.
Yeah.
So if wrestling's important, getting a good education will be important as well. So being there, learning that excuses go out the door. Either you win or you don't, and you're going to be judged on whether or not you win, was huge. I just realized that there's no excuses in life. Either you get it done or you don't. And so as a business owner, I seek to have the best business I can possibly have. I'm not trying to compete with other people. I'm trying to be the best me I can be. MMA, I have goals set for myself, because if you don't have goals, you're not going to get any better. And for our team, I want to be in there. I want to help them get better. I want us to reach the heights that we were at, 96, 99, placing on the national scene. And obviously we made a good step in that direction with Bryce being All-American, great recruits coming in. I learned so much. I'm so grateful, and I definitely would not be where I'm at right now if it wasn't for Cal State Wrestling, if it wasn't for Coach Kerr, if it wasn't for Coach Mendoza, if it wasn't for all these people helping push me along to reach new heights.
Yeah, well, first of all, good luck in the surgery, and hopefully it's a quick turnaround, because we want to see you back on TV here shortly.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks so much for joining us, and like I said, we'll be keeping an eye on you, and hopefully waiting for that big next announcement.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
All right, Brian Cobb here on Roadrunner Rundown. We have got to get out of here. Thanks so much for joining us, folks. You can get the show anytime online at GoRunners.com. Catch up on previous editions of the program as well, and we'll join us next week on the program. More schedules to be released. We'll talk more Roadrunner Athletics as we get closer to the start. It's July. We're getting closer to the start of the 2014 season, so stay tuned for that on next week's program. Follow us anytime online at GoRunners.com. Also, Facebook.com/CESUB Roadrunners, on Twitter and Instagram at CESUB Athletics. My thanks to Richie Grant, Brian Cobb as well. Thanks so much, folks, for joining us. We'll catch you next time. This has been Roadrunner Rundown.